Thank you. Thank you for being here. As I go, you're welcome to submit questions. I'm told there'll be a QR code, and I have a little iPad where your questions will show up, so bring them. I'm going to get started, test my clicker. Okay, so I'll start with just a tiny bit of background on MoneyGram. I have the impression that many of you know a lot about us, but I'm going to get started, test my clicker. Okay, so I'll start with just a tiny bit of background on MoneyGram. I have the impression that many of you know a lot about us, but I'll just click through it anyway because it's fun for me. So this is a humbling slide for me. We do business in 200 countries and territories around the world. This is a slide that in my 13 years at MoneyGram has changed a lot. We used to have the majority of our transactions with some kind of US nexus. Now more and more it's outside the US. So we do see our business shifting. I'll highlight a couple numbers on this slide because I want to talk with you about them later. The first is the very large number of banking partners we have, and the second is the 71 licenses. I think there are really exciting opportunities we have there together, so I hope to seek your help before we're done. We do have 2,200 people that are our own employees. Most of our model, which we'll talk about in a second, is that we do business through our agent partners in over 400,000 agent locations around the world. So just 2,200 of those people actually work for MoneyGram, and many of you have worked with many of them. So you can see crypto here on this slide, and this is also something that has changed a lot in my time at MoneyGram. We used to have this slide, and like Alex was talking about for those who heard yesterday, in 2011, 97% of our business was, I'll just call it paper money because that's unambiguous, and that would be down here at the bottom. And since then, we've added all these other ways of transacting, including crypto. Okay, so now the funnest and most important part. The humans. So our customers are primarily migrants, and they are primarily sending money home to their families, and they're primarily doing that for critical and basic things. So food, shelter, medicine, education. And the way that these services are offered, I mentioned our agent locations, and I brought a few pictures from my visits around the world because this is the most fun part of my job. And sometimes agent locations don't look exactly like you think they will. So first we have this little grocery store in the US. I love this picture, this mom who has her child with her. At the time I took this, I was also a mom of a young kid, so I related to her a lot. This is a gentleman in Mumbai. His Wi-Fi is not working, and so he is doing a paper money transaction using his cell phone. And then finally, in Accra, this is a post office location in Accra, and it's quite dark because at the time the electricity was not on. So the way that services are offered vary from market to market, and the environments are often maybe not exactly as I would have imagined as someone coming into it from the US. Okay, so what does all that lead up to? So we partnered with Stellar and all of the various parts of the Stellar ecosystem to build a product where you can put paper money into the Stellar ecosystem, or you can go to the Stellar ecosystem and take paper money out using MoneyGram locations like the ones we just spoke about. It has been an amazing, I know the title says 2 years, it's actually 3. So we started talking in 2021, we started brainstorming, how would it work? What tools do we have in our toolkit to solve the problem of paper money in and paper money out, on-ramps and off-ramps? And so we found some things on the MoneyGram side that we thought would work. We partnered with Stellar on those things. We went live in a handful of countries to start with, and with 2 wallets to start with. And then from there, we expanded the partnership, like Candace was mentioning within the last hour, to include a use case with UNHCR, where we can use MoneyGram's payout network to make sure that refugees and displaced persons get access to funds. So you'll see there Stellar Aid Assist. And then in 23, at this very conference, we launched our plans to do a non-custodial wallet, and yesterday, Alex spoke about how we've gone live with that. So it's been an incredible journey. And when I was talking with Lauren about, well, what should I say about the impact? we talked about how much we speak about the impact on customers and agents and our shared customers and the ecosystem. But I don't think we've ever publicly reflected as MoneyGram how much the partnership has meant to us. And so I feel like that's something that I'd just like to share with you all as members of the ecosystem, because it has had benefits to us in multiple ways. This slide said, what did we relearn? It should say, what did I relearn? But I felt weird about saying that. I'll also say I feel like once I passed 45, I only relearn. I don't, as Miss Swift says, I get older but never wiser. So I've relearned a number of things through the Stellar partnership, and hopefully some of the lessons are stickier so I don't have to keep relearning the same thing. But I think the first thing is, and this pertains to Stellar and all members of the ecosystem, it's really important that you define success together, not just up front, but like the whole way. What does success mean for you? Is it the number of countries that you're in? Is it the number of transactions you do? Is it the success rate of the customers doing the cash in and the cash out? And just continuing to iterate over and over, what are those things that really matter to us together, and how do we make sure we're focused on those things? I think the next 3 might actually be the same lesson, but just different lenses on it. And all of this is about product. And the reason I keep looking up here is because my screens are not on, so forgive me. Some ideas are not going to work, but you should still try them, because otherwise you won't know. And these are all sort of related to cash in, and for those of you who are part of the ecosystem and have integrated with Stellar and MoneyGram, voila, thank you. You know that the cash in product's not perfect. And what happened there that I think is an easy trap to fall into is that we were in love with that solution because it was available to us. But it didn't work very well for our customers, our agents. It's quite fragile. The humans involved, the customer and the agent, they both have to be perfect. And you have a product where the human has to be perfect, you don't have a product. So this is something that as fundamentally a product person, I feel like I've had to learn over and over and over. Just because it technically works does not mean it works. And then nothing's universally true, so I just made this very big statement that seemed universally true. Every single market is different, so as we continue to explore new places to do business, and not just with Stellar and the Stellar ecosystem and the wallets, but in other parts of our business, just treating it as a localized problem is a lesson that I learned repeatedly. Okay, so how did it change us? What has been the impact? This is a picture of a hackathon that we did with Decaf. We specifically were working with Decaf on ways to improve our locator. That's the tool that customers use to figure out where to go to get paper money or to put paper money into the Stellar system. Our locator is imperfect generally, but it's imperfect for this product specifically because well, let me back up. Every single teller I showed you, those are remittance experts. Like world-class remittance experts. If you go to a remittance expert and say, hey, I'm cashing out my crypto wallet, it can be a strange conversation. And so not only does the data in our locator have to be correct, the agents that are in the locator, we need a way to mark them as this absolute remittance expert deeply understands the crypto use case. And if you go there and you load your wallet or you unload your wallet, that will be a good experience for you. And furthermore, that agent will have cash on hand. So that's what this hackathon was all about. And the way that we got here was Decaf and others told us, hey, this doesn't work. And so we really learned to listen to all of you in a way that to treat you as the experts that you are, to take that feedback and to adjust. We also learned things about our core product because there was a different standard for success. And so I talked about how the cash-in product was imperfect. We could look at the data in the background and see, oh, many times this doesn't work for people, but we could not figure out why. And so we partnered with Stellar to send Uber testers into the field and test in many markets, get hundreds of pieces of feedback about what those experiences were like, and to begin to address those things. And this is a tool that has made a huge difference for us, not just with this product, but with our business generally, to use this tool to better understand what's happening on the ground. I'll just talk briefly about the last one because I debated including it, but then I thought, well, it's important enough that I should talk about it. So you might be familiar with, there's this meme from The Simpsons where Homer wants to avoid something, so he disappears into the hedges. There were times, and maybe still are times, working with the Stellar ecosystem where something was very cool or innovative, cool and innovative even, but we were afraid because we thought, oh, we don't know how to do that and still meet our regulatory obligations, or we just don't know how to do that. So instead of saying, I really like your idea, I'm super afraid, we would just disappear into the hedges. So we looked either slow or risk averse, and maybe we are those things, but we learned to talk about our feelings so that even if we were slow or risk averse, we could at least explain, this is what's happening in my heart and my head when I'm being weird to you. So this was very important and has served us well with other partners. And we're not perfect at it every time, we're just better at it than we used to be. Okay, so the current state, remember how we started with just this handful of countries, 2 wallets. We have gained some velocity in the onboarding process. For new wallets, we are better at knowing which wallets will work well together with us. We are better at knowing what to ask. We're better at integrating. Our APIs are improved from where they were when we started. And we're gaining scale. We have 170 enabled cash-out countries. Cash-in, like I mentioned a lot of times, it's more difficult. It's just more fragile. There's more friction there. Needs to be further enhanced to be scaled broadly. But 36 is much, much better than where we started. And this list of digital asset wallet partners, it grows every single day. Okay, a little bit about what's next. So cash out works really well, getting paper money out, the off-ramps. And so we continue to look for ways to select partners, agent partners, and wallet partners, where that's a really good pairing to double down on that strength. We continue to look for ways to improve cash in. And one of the things you guys could do that would be a huge favor for me is send me ideas for it if you are part of the ecosystem or have any experience with this, because this is an area where, for me, I know too much about the solution, and it prevents me from wholly loving the problem. So it's very helpful if you continue to say, this, maybe we should think about this differently. Adding digital on and off ramps, I've said the words paper money a lot of times. MoneyGram has many other ways to off ramp, but they are not yet coded to the anchor. So adding those is very next for us. And then continuing to act on your feedback. Like I mentioned, the fact that the locator was problematic, that was a great thing for us to have a hackathon about, because it helps us across the board. It helps our agents, it helps our customers, it helps all of you, and it helps the rest of our network. And so we like to have those things continue to come. And then my final slide. So this is a question that's just a way for me to tell you what I think. So something I think about a lot, and I thought when I came that it might be controversial. I actually asked Lauren, will this be controversial? But so many other people have talked about it. It's about the problem of, remember how I talked about licenses and banks and falling in love with the problem? Having conversations with our regulators and with banks about crypto is not easy. I have a lot of sympathy for regulators because they're sort of like tourists. They have a specific regulation, and then they become a tourist in your country for 2 weeks, and they have to determine during that little stint, are you doing a good job or a bad job? And so what we've done on the money transfer side is because we see them as tourists, we've made them a map. This is how it works. Here's a postcard about sanctions. Here's a postcard about fraud. Here's a postcard about agent oversight. We don't have a map or postcards about crypto. And that's really sad for me because your tools are so good for things like identity and things like where has even this fraction of a coin been? I can't do that with paper money. So you have a great story to tell regulators. We have a great story to tell regulators together. You have great tools. You're a community that's very inspiring and tells great stories. And so for me, I think a huge thing that we could do together to drive growth in the ecosystem is figure out how to talk better to regulators. And I thought it would be controversial, but like 20 people have said it before me in sessions I've been in. So I'd love to have a whole thing just about that, but that's my one thing. So I have 3 minutes and 28 seconds left. You can yell at me or you can submit questions, and I'll answer them. Let's see what's come in. Oh, what happened in the UK with the post office? That is a big one, you guys. So I can't say very much about it because we are still talking with the post office, and the post office is really important to our customers, and our service is really important to the postmaster, so hope to have more to share there. Okay, anything else? 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, I'm going to leave the stage then before it gets awkward. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coding to MoneyGram. Thank you for being so passionate about our customers and our shared customers. You have really changed us for the better, and I appreciate your advocacy.